vocalist, or
Oh, can't remember.
it's so long ago?
It was so long ago. No, there's like two different ways of doing it, I guess. Well, for me anyway, I never actually went to an audition. I've worked for other cruise lines before, and I put together what is called a show reel, which is like a little 2 or 3 minute highlight reel video or link nowadays, and I sent it to Princess, and they hired me on what they saw. So, but it's not usually that process. Usually there's an audition call. They audition globally. They go to more major cities around the world, and they'll actually do physical audition, and they'll want to hear you sing. I don't know much about that. Maybe you do.
Yeah. For me, I was living in New York City, and I was called in to go to an audition, and then went and sang in front of Jeremy, who does some of our casting, and then he asked me to come back singing some songs from the shows that are done here on these ships, and then after that that's when I got hired. So yeah.
Okay, so kind of the two different ways, either the show reel or an in-person audition. What about for the dancers? Because I know it's similar nowadays with online auditions, right?
Yeah, it's quite similar. Once, especially when COVID hit, a lot of things turned into show reels, and so I know a lot of people who put together their version of a dance show reel, just from material that they've done before, sent that in, and then normally the casting director will send back a dance combination or 2 or 3 for you to learn. You'll film yourself doing that and sending it back there. And so that's been a bit more commonplace nowadays, but we still have a lot of in-person auditions. I did my in-person audition in New York City, similar to Lauren. I actually was in the same audition as Olivia, and one of the other cast dancers who's not here, Peyton. We were in there. It's hundreds of people. They bring you in and they teach you a little dance combination, and then they'll make a cut. They'll decide who they want to see further, and those who stay, you do another combination, you get cut again, and then we did like little bitty things. We did our turns, we held our leg above our head and did our splits for consistency. And then after that, you'll get a call, and if you're available, and you get a contract.
Okay. You said did our splits, like that's just something everybody can do. I mean, casually, you just do your splits. So once you go through the audition, what then happens after you're successful? So do they send you to a ship right away, or is there a whole process before you actually get onto a ship? What happens after the audition?
So once you audition, you usually get an email with a contract available, and if you're available, then you'll fly out to rehearsals. And we used to rehearse in Santa Clarita, California. The rehearsal studios have now moved to Florida. But you go to rehearsals usually for anywhere between like 6 to 8 weeks, and that's where you'll meet the whole cast. You'll train in the studios, you'll learn all the shows. We do an office run week, which is where we run the shows for the shoreside team. They get to see us, make sure we're good to go, and then from the rehearsals, we fly to the ship.
Okay, so in that rehearsal space in Florida, are you just the cast here, or are there other casts with you as well? How big, like what's the scale of the operation shoreside?
So nowadays in the new rehearsal studios, it is multiple casts at the same time. We share apartments. Normally it's with your cast first, but depending on how many casts are in, you might share an apartment with other people from other casts, and then you'll all rehearse, I think ideally in the same rehearsal studios, just in different rooms. And so like during this office run week, like Olivia was talking about, sometimes we're allowed to go watch other casts and support our friends.
Okay, and so then in this rehearsal space as well, you've got a stage kind of set up, so you know what the stage is going to look like. But do you have all the props and the costumes and everything as well? What's that like? Ty, you want to speak with that?
No, we have the stage kind of mapped out on the floor of the studio, and then we have these like makeshift props that kind of resembles what we are going to be working with when we get to the ship.
Yeah, so you kind of have to use your imagination in some parts, yeah. Now, in terms of contracts, we briefly spoke about the triple, but how long are the contracts typically for a singer or dancer? What's the typical contract length, and how does that work?
Contracts are normally between about 6 months. This contract we're currently on is 5 months. So for the dancers, it's about 6 months. I think it could be longer, or it could be shorter, just depending.
And we kind of spoke about the triple and